everyone, I'm your host Pensyfan19 and welcome to the October 2025 Pensyfan Periodical. This is a monthly news series which covers most of the major railroading headlines from around the world, as well as my opinions on them. We have a lot of articles to go over today, the most great ones we've had in a while, so with that in mind, let's get rolling. Starting off this episode with a 2-for-1, we have a rare occurrence of two American public transit projects opening not only within the same month, but within a day apart of each other as well. Specifically, the KC streetcar opening their Main Street extension, and the DART Silver Line starting service the very next day on October 25th. The first of the two involved the southward extension of the light rail from Kansas City Union Station down to UMKC, with 7 new stops in between as it continued to run down this side of Main Street. The second involved a much higher profile new build construction of brand new commuter rail service connecting Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport with Plano, Texas, while connecting 3 DART light rail lines in between, as this new DART service uses DMUs to restore passenger rail service on the former Cotton Belt Railroad main line. Also, this story wouldn't be complete without a quick shout out to the third transit project that opened in the US this month, specifically Phase 2 of HART between Halawa and Kahauki, thus connecting the service to Honolulu Airport, although this service technically opened on October 16th, which puts it at just over a week before KC streetcar opened their extension on the 24th. But back to the continental US, both KC streetcar and the Silver Line received much praise from riders and urban planners alike due to the connections that they offered to other services as well as good land use for most of their stations. Both opening ceremonies saw incredibly high ridership, as hopefully it's a sign that ridership numbers will meet or exceed expectations, once again proving the concept of build it and they will come. With everything going on in the world, it's encouraging to see various transit projects like these, large and small, still being constructed and completed in order to better connect new regions, which is why we should always continue to advocate for supporting and constructing new public transit services which help bring about economic growth and convenience for years to come. Speaking of which, here's some interesting news. DC streetcars to end service in spring 2026. California has now banned the resale of used diesel locomotives, while Caltrain is to be paid for returning their energy to the California state grid. The Willamette Shore Trolley Museum has become the first solar-powered railroad in the US. The former Black Mesa Lake Powell Railroad could become a tourist railroad. Smart TD Union wants to ban the use of drone flights above railroad right-of-ways. Federal funding for the Gateway program and 2nd Avenue subway have been paused due to the government shutdown. The NYC subway logged their 3 billionth rider to use the contactless tap. A new program named Oculus Rail showcases how long certain railroad crossings have been lowered for on an interactive map. Railway aides use an AI-generated image as a thumbnail for an article about using AI to detect trespasser hotspots. Pacific Harbor Line is collaborating with Remora to test a new carbon capture tender. Union Pacific is a partner with Uber Freight for last-mile deliveries. Smash Mouth is one of the several bands to perform for the CPKC Holiday Train. A CT Rail train set has been spotted past the Davisville, Rhode Island rail cam. Sunset models could make an O-gauge Avila Liberty. The Hedgehog could become extinct by 2050. Brazil is to test a Wabtec locomotive powered by ethanol. Ethiopia has released their first domestically produced railcar for a tourist railway. Mikan, the station master cap for a Kaohsiung Metro station in Taiwan, was a featured Wikipedia article, with the cap being born on the same day as this channel's start date. 2 CR450 HST set a world passing speed record in China, with each train set traveling at 286 miles per hour when passing each other. PESA claims that Europe needs 50 to 100 hydrogen-powered trams. The Plauen tram could get shut down in Germany, while the same country is to end night train service with SJ in Sweden. NS has retired their Bombardier Trax engines and ICR coaches from passenger service, thus being the last loco-hauled rolling stock in service in the Netherlands, with the exception of the Amsterdam Club train, which ran again this month. Alstom's Glasgow Train Care Centre saw a public exhibition of several locomotives for Palmadi 125, thus being a mini greatest gathering for Scotland in a way. And Eurostar has selected the Alstom Celestia TGV-M as their next high-speed train set, thus becoming the first bi-level HST for Britain. Hopefully it'll get a more detailed livery in the coming years. Now here's a follow-up news section for articles covering stories from previous episodes. The Amtrak Cascade Siemens Aero train set has been delivered to Philadelphia for further testing on the Northeast Corridor. Amtrak will be utilizing Michigan Central Station as part of a multimodal development at the site. MBTA placed another GP40 Heritage unit into service, with 1130 wearing the purple, yellow, and gray livery, while NJT released another GP40 Heritage unit as well, with 4202 representing the Pennsylvania Reading Seashore lines. The Winchester and Western Heritage Road has restarted operations. Phase 2 of Montreal's REM will open on November 17th, along with the entirety of the former Dumontage's EXO line, while EXO has placed their Siemens Charger into revenue service, as these engines are called the EC42. Fortescue Metals has paused their battery-powered locomotive program. London DLR placed their CAF Light Metro railcars into service, while the Stadler British Rail Class 93 has also started service. Paris has placed their Alstom MF19 railcars into service in the Paris Metro, and the ICE L has entered revenue service, with this Talco set becoming the newest fleet in the family of ICE high-speed trains. In other news, Serbia has opened the high-speed main line to Hungary. OVB has started service to Belgium while also electrifying their line to Slovakia, with the same railroad also testing Siemens Velaro HSTs for Egypt. Lumo is to propose new Cardiff to York service. Beacon Rail is to buy Eversholt. Copenhagen has brought back streetcar service for the first time in 50 years. Taiwan has approved a new monorail service. Qatar and Saudi Arabia are to build a rail connection for the Gulf Railway. Keolis is to operate Etihad Rail in the UAE. The Paipas-Sogamoso line has restarted service in Colombia. Texas officials are to study a San Antonio to Austin commuter rail service. Can-Do Rail has acquired Texas Terminal Railroad. Inslee has started service on the Georgiana and Andalusia Railroad. Construction has started for GO Transit's Caledonia station. The Forest Hill Flyover in Chicago has been opened as part of the CREATE program. Dictionary.com has stated 6-7 is the 2025 word of the year. Dren Cargo has placed an order for Siemens Vectrons with possibly photoshopped livery. CP Portugal is to purchase Alstom EMUs as part of their largest fleet contract ever. Marco Polo Rail is to supply DMUs for Teresina commuter rail in Brazil. Miele has purchased Siemens automated light metro cars. South Korea is to test the hydrogen-powered multiple unit, while Stadler is to build HMUs for Sicily. Helsinki is to purchase Stadler Tango Nordic trams, with Skoda filing a lawsuit against the decision. St. Paul's Green Line has started testing, with one of their LRVs being wrapped to celebrate the occasion. Gabon Mine RW100 ARM shunters have entered service, along with bi-level TMH coaches for long-distance service in Russia. MEV is to purchase Stadler GTWs from Switzerland. Siemens donated a British Rail Class 332 to Humberside Fire and Rescue Service for training purposes. JR East created a 205 series heritage unit to celebrate the Yamanote Line's centennial. The Lake State Railways released their America 250th livery on the SD70M, while the Pennsylvania and Southern Railroad released their America 250th livery on the SW1200RS. A Rio Grande SC45 tunnel motor has been preserved by Midwest Overland Rail Preservation. The North Shore Railroad acquired single-level MBTA Pullman cars for tourist service. PRR private car Colonial Crafts is to be borrowed by the Strasburg Railroad for regular service. Rio Grande 233 is to be restored to service on the Colorado Railroad Museum. DLM 528055 has returned to steam in Switzerland. And Union Pacific announced plans to run Big Boy 4014 to the East Coast in order to celebrate America's 250th anniversary, with an exact route map and schedule to be determined, thus marking the first instance of UP running a steam excursion to the East Coast. After all that, it is now time for this month's Meme of the Month. This month's Meme of the Month is Mistaken for Trains. And now, after much consideration for the title, the top story of the October 2025 Pensyfan Periodical is Metro North Hudson Line to Albany. With local bias once again potentially influencing the decision for the top story of the month, we're back in the greater New York region with Metro North announcing the extension of their Hudson Line service to Albany, which also happens to be the same line that the BNSF OCS was initially supposed to run down in last month's top story. In response to a temporary reduction in Amtrak's Empire service due to construction of Penn Station's East River tunnels, Metro North announced that they would fill in the service gap by offering a Super Express service between Grand Central Terminal and Albany Rensselaer by spring of 2026, with Amtrak also restoring one of the two temporarily suspended Empire service trains. This new Metro North service includes a once-a-day round trip that departs GCT for Albany in the morning and then reverse commutes back to New York in the evening, with stops including Grand Central, Harlem 125th, Croton Harmon, Poughkeepsie, Hudson, Rhinecliff, and then Albany. So essentially making this train another Empire service, but with Metro North equipment and with stops at Harlem and GCT instead of Yonkers and Penn Station. The consideration of this service was likely made possible due to the ongoing commencement of service for the Siemens Chargers, or SC42DMs, as they've already been placed into service on a Super Express from Grand Central to Poughkeepsie, with more chargers currently being tested and built. It is currently unclear as to whether this Metro North service will only be a temporary measure or a permanent addition to the commuter railroad after East River Tunnel work is completed, as this will become the longest commuter rail service in the world at roughly 160 miles long. I for one would like to see this service stay, as even if it's only one round-trip train per day, it at least gives commuters the option to travel between Albany and Poughkeepsie down to Grand Central, as tickets to Albany will supposedly be around $40. Furthermore, the ridership on such a service could potentially encourage Metro North to run more scheduled trains on the corridor, and could even encourage the restoration of former commuter rail stations between Poughkeepsie and Albany, such as Hyde Park, Barrytown, and Germantown. But whatever happens, I'm more than excited to see the start of this new express service, as this opens up a whole new world of possibilities for Metro North to take this one-of-a-kind express train between two of New York's largest cities. Thank you everyone for watching this month's episode of the Pensyfan Periodical. There have been a lot of rail news headlines for the month, and it will be very interesting to see what the future has in store for all of these articles. Thank you again for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more. Have a good day.